Cool. So, in today's installment of 10-minute histories, we're doing Adidas. So, the brand we all know and hopefully love, Adidas. So, the origins of the brand Adidas can be traced back to a small town called Herzogenaurach, and it's about 12 miles from Nuremberg in Germany. And the company that was to become Adidas was first registered as Gebroeder Dassler Schuhfabrik in 1924, so a long time ago. And it was registered by two brothers named Adolf and Rudolf Dassler. So both were returning soldiers from the First World War, and the brothers actually ran Gebroeder Dassler Schuhfabrik from the basement of their mother's laundry house. And electricity supply to Herzogenaurach was unreliable, so the brothers actually made use of pedal power from a stationary bicycle to provide electricity and power to some of their equipment at times. So that's pretty interesting, I reckon. And Adolf persuaded American sprinter Jesse Owens to wear a handmade pair of shoes specifically designed for him during the 1936 Summer Olympics. And he ended up winning 4 gold medals. And today, you don't hear as much about Jesse Owens, I think, as you should. But we did a bit of him in history, more regarding the USA and their segregation policy. But so, anyways, he was an American sprinter, fast as hell, and he had a pair of shoes made specifically for him by the Gebroeder Dassler Schuhfabrik, which was basically Adidas just before it was, and another company where we'll find out about that now. So, and when winning 4 gold medals, this ended up being great publicity for Gebroeder Dassler Schuhfabrik. So from then on to the start of the Second World War, they were selling 200,000 shoes annually. So very good numbers at that stage. And so now this is where it gets interesting. So in 1949, Adolf and Rudolf had become disillusioned with one another, and after a few falling out, Rudolf established Puma. So one brother, Adidas, Adolf. So Adidas is a combination of Adolf, his nickname was Dassler, and then his brother Rudolf established Puma. So this was in 1949. So just after the end of the Second World War. So exactly why they had this big rivalry between them, or falling out rather, is we're not exactly sure. There's contradicting sources. Some sources say that during an Allied bombing, Rudolf and his wife were already inside a bomb shelter, and so Adolf and his wife came in, saw his brother and his wife, and Adolf apparently said, the bastards are back again, and he was referring to the Americans bombing them. But and Rudolf assumed he was referring to him. So that's what one source says, but obviously it has to be more than just one thing, you know. This is, I think, pretty obvious. But another source said that one of the brothers after the war had accused one of the other brothers of being a member of the SS. So remember, all of this happened in the Second World War, before and after, so very difficult political situations worldwide, not even Germany on its own, but especially Germany, I think, in particular. So, they never really reconciled. They're buried in the same cemetery, but literally as far apart in the cemetery as you can be. So very sad to think about it. Now, Herzogenaurach, sorry, it's a very difficult word and name that to read. Actually, the town Herzogenaurach became known as the town of bent necks, because people would actually, when they walk up to you, look down at your shoes, and by judging, so obviously today I was wearing a pair of Sambas, but so if you met someone, they would look down, and just in general, people would always have their necks bent looking down at what shoes you're wearing, because it would say a lot about you. If you're wearing Pumas, obviously you would be supporting Rudolf, and if you were wearing Adidas, as I would be, you would be on the side of Adi. So, pretty interesting fact there. I just thought it's worth mentioning. And so, I hope I made a point of this, but no, I don't think I did. So, what's very interesting is when handymen came to Rudolf's house, they would intentionally wear Adidas, because then they would know as soon as Rudolf sees them wearing Adidas, he would tell them, go down to the basement, pick out a pair of Pumas, and you can take it for free. So they intentionally wore Adidas to get a pair of free Pumas to go out with. So that was pretty just a fun fact I thought worth mentioning as well. And so this rivalry, sorry, I had the paper between my face, this rivalry between Puma and Adidas, Rudolf and Adolf, even extended to the local football teams, who were ASF, Herzogenaurach, and First FC, Herzogenaurach. And First FC was sponsored by Puma and ASV by, yes, ASV, it is ASV, yeah, ASV by Adidas. So just a funny fact there. Now in 1954, Adidas developed a new, this was new at the time, revolutionary, innovative screw-in studs for their boots, for their specific Adidas boots. So this provided players with better grip on a wet field, and in 1955, during the final of the Soccer World Cup, the German national team was competing against the Hungarians, and the Hungarians were a giant, and Germany was kind of the underdog, and they ended up winning the match. And you know, obviously it's players, everything, but you know, who knows how big a role the shoes played, but it was definitely a contributing factor. So very interesting to mention that. And in 1971, there was the fight of the century between Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali, and both actually wore Adidas. So that's just something worth knowing, is the fight of the century, 1971, Frazier versus Ali, Adidas, both parties. So as you can see, these are figures that everyone at home would see on television, would hear about, would see photos in magazines, and they would see what pairs of shoes he's wearing. As an example, Pele, at a soccer match, I can't remember exactly where, sorry, I didn't write all these facts down. This isn't necessarily as relevant to this as it is to Puma, but Pele walked up to the referee and asked, is it fine if I tie my boots quickly? And this was before kickoff, but the cameras were rolling and they were just about to kick off. So obviously Pele was a legend, and the referee said, please tie your shoes, no problem. So as he bent down to tie his shoes, the entire world got a glimpse of what shoes he were wearing, and they were Pumas because the cameras were rolling, obviously. Sorry, let me get back to the point again. So this is something I'm just going to read off here, because this is an interesting fact that I, for some reason, couldn't find a lot of didn't find this mentioned at all. But in 1976, Nadia Comăneci scored a perfect 10 during the 1976 Olympics. Now, a perfect 10 had never been done before. This was considered to be impossible. You know, it's basically 100%. You can't get better as a perfect 10. The scoreboard actually only had 3 digits, so it could be 9.99, but never 10. It would never be able to go that 4 digits, 10,00. And it was literally thought to be impossible. And Nadia Comăneci in the 1976 Olympic Games achieved a perfect 10, and guess what she was wearing? Adidas. And obviously this isn't shoes, this was you know what, she was a artistic gymnastic, I think that's what you call them, and this was for the even bars event. So just worth mentioning. Oh, and yeah, I probably should have started with this. She was a 14-year-old Romanian girl, so that's pretty crazy. 14-year-old Romanian girl in a full Adidas getup doing a perfect 10. And I'm don't know much about gymnastics, but gotta give credit where it's due, I reckon. So Nadia Comăneci, I take my hat off to that girl. And in 1960, Puma paid German sprinter Armin Hary to wear Puma, and he had originally worn Adidas. So he wore, this was for the Olympics. He was a sprinter, so he wore these Pumas for the Olympics, ended up winning gold. But for the award ceremony, he laced up in a pair of Adidas. So controversy and even kind of fueled the fire between Adolf and Rudolf again, and it said that Adolf was outraged about it, where, you know, that's just worth mentioning. So you can just see there was very bad blood, so for some reason, we'll probably never know exactly why, but it's just adds to the mystique, I think, of the entire, you know, to the two brands even. So in 1980, Adidas developed the Micro Pacer. Now the Micro Pacer was like a tiny computer literally in your shoe, which is like completely ahead of its time. In the 80s, computers were like the size of houses. It was ridiculous, and they decided we're going to put this thing in a shoe, and it was basically something that analyzed performance statistics for athletes. So that was completely revolutionary for its time as well. Today we call it the, sorry, I just lost this section where I was at. Today we call it the My Coach, and it provides performance statistics. So very interesting fact there. Now Run DMC had a song Adidas, and Adidas not obviously, but they weren't aware of this. So at one of their shows, there was 40,000 spectators there. Yeah, sorry about that. My memory got full. I usually do these longer videos on this little guy because its quality is a lot lower, and it seems I've filled up my memory for now. So where was I? Run DMC, they had the song Adidas. Now the company Adidas wasn't aware of this, and one of the employees or one of the spectators, there was 40,000 spectators, and one of these was an Adidas employee. So he at this show, I hope I'm not continuing at the wrong place, but at this show, when they did the song Adidas, they held up their shoes, and obviously it's a very iconic, sorry for the bad lighting, it's a very iconic three-stripe figure, you can't really miss it. And so everyone saw these shoes, and it kind of, it's from there where Adidas started to transition more from athleticism, sports scene, to more like to music, the streets, to art, to you know, a lot of other facets, I think, of, you know, modern day culture. So you know, no, I think it goes to a huge degree, like to a larger degree. Sorry for that typo there. Just for the sake of mentioning, it is now 6 minutes before 2 in the morning, because I've been like on a mission because of this, because I lost the previous video. But yeah, so yeah, if someone would see, like, let's say a kid sees Beckenbauer wearing a pair of Adidas, obviously he would want to buy a pair of Adidas because Franz Beckenbauer is wearing them. If you're, let's say you're aspiring boxer and you watch the 71 Frazier Ali fight, you would obviously want to wear Adidas if both fighters are wearing Adidas. So, you know, this is where things started to, you know, move from, you know, these humble beginnings to where it is now, like part of a, you know, like more, you know, where it goes into lifestyle, you know, difficult to describe, but, you know, like even they've done collaborations with like Star Wars. I love those collections. Like, you know, they reach out to every aspect of you know, every modern day society, to like the nerdy kind of you know, part of society who loves Star Wars. Like, I love Star Wars almost as much as I love Adidas. And, you know, Katy Perry, Kanye West. I'm not a big fan of Kanye West, to be honest. I don't like the guy, but, you know, they've done collaborations. Star Wars, Katy Perry, Kanye West, Pharrell Williams, and that's just, you know, like a few, I think, household names that, you know, has a very far-reaching audience. And now you get three major lines of Adidas: the originals, and the performance, and I saw they call it, seems, Style Essentials. I haven't really seen those. I've been seeing Neo a lot. Like, the originals is like this leaf, where the performance is those three stripes with the square kind of vibe, and Neo, it seems like a circle with three. Yeah. I'm not exactly sure. This is supposed to be short, so I'm not going to expand too much on this. So, just for interest's sake as well, so Dick Fosbury. was a high jumper, and he was the first guy to jump backwards, and Adidas developed a shoe specifically for Dick Fosbury and his new technique of jumping backwards. So let's say you're a high jumper, you see that, damn, you would obviously want to wear that pair of Adidas to help you use that technique. The same, let's say you see Stan Smith with his, with his signature pair of shoes, you would want those pairs of shoes, and just for interest's sake, Reebok, this I was completely unaware of this, is that Reebok was bought by Adidas, so under the Adidas umbrella you would find Reebok as well, and Adolf Dassler's grandson was also named Adi Dassler. That was his name, Adi Dassler, and he formed AD1, which was another shoe company. Then they specialized like in adventure and suburban style footwear, so very interesting to see that happened as well. And Adidas at one point got kind of a bad rap because of the soccer hooligans. People would see like violence hooligans wearing Adidas, and then if they see someone on the street, just an average guy wearing Adidas because his favorite skateboarder wears Adidas, or because it kind of formed a connotation, or just because the guy likes football, they would think this guy is probably a hooligan because he's wearing Adidas and he likes football. So and yeah, I guess that's about it. Let me see, there was nothing else I really wanted to mention, unless I can think of something else. Yeah, just, like, even for me as a musician, Bob Marley has these famous photos where he's wearing SL72s, and Freddie Mercury, I found a video on YouTube where he's doing Bohemian Rhapsody in I think it's a pair of Sambas. And so, like, it just, if I know I'm wearing the same kind of shoes as those guys, it just, it sounds petty, but I can see why it has moved from, like, a small shoe company in Herzogenaurach to what it is today, where it's like a cultural, this I didn't mention. I've got so many papers here. I made another one about Victoria's Cross I'm planning to do tomorrow, but they're like the largest supply of athletic shoes in Europe and second only in the world to Nike, or Nike, I'm not even exactly sure how you pronounce that. So that's basically 10-15 minute history, I reckon, on Adidas. So I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for all the ums. This is now actually the second attempt, because I did this one first and then I got 20 views, put on another one on Beethoven, deleted Adidas accidentally, and now have to do it over again. And this one is probably a bit worse, but you can never do something as good as you did it the first time, I reckon. So I might as well do like an introduction to the series or something while I'm busy now, because it's the last day of the month, the 30th. So, well, tomorrow, well, it's now the 31st, so I'm on the last night's owl I can use now, or night surfer data. So yeah, let me cut this short.